like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
It's a Fantasy Friday on MRN.com as the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Commonwealth of Virginia at Richmond. What is it, Richmond Raceway now? Richmond International Raceway. What is it?
It's just Richmond Raceway now.
Richmond Raceway. Yep. It's also, Robbie, and we need a jar, the penultimate race of the regular season. Well, how many times do you think we'll hear that this weekend? Just over under.
No, this is the last week would have been the penultimate race.
No,
of the
I thought it was.
season.
I thought it was the last race of the regular season.
No, it's the last.
No.
So Darlington was the penultimate race in the regular season.
Daryl's telling me that you're right, so I'm just going to stop arguing
about so many things.
Yes. So last week was the penultimate race of the regular season. And speaking of that, Martin Truex Jr. clinched the regular season championship last week, and that is about how it should be because he was the best car all year long, no doubt. And he is pretty much going to ride his surfboard to Homestead.
I think at this point he's set up pretty well for the playoffs as far as points goes. There's still 7 more points to gain this weekend at Richmond Raceway, and I know Martin Truex Jr. He's probably going to win at least one stage, probably 2. He's got a good chance to win the race, although he historically has never been great at Richmond before. But, there's still a long way to go, and nobody's given him anything at this point. He still has to go out there and earn it. But the stage is set for him to have a very good chance to get to the championship 4.
Yeah, and he wasn't all that great in Richmond in the spring as well. He finished 10th. Got some stage points, but did not win a stage. How about Denny Hamlin, Rubes? Unbelievable. Just an outstanding run at the Bojangles Southern 500. Different strategy compared to Truex and, a couple others, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick. He decided to do a different strategy, ended up winning the race. It didn't really even matter. He made a 15-second mistake, missing pit road, and still won the race.
He still won the race, and it's one of those things where if it's your night, it's your night. And it happened to be his weekend because he won on Saturday in the Xfinity Series race as well. So Denny Hamlin has Darlington figured out, and we're going to a racetrack this weekend, Tyler, where he has had success in the past, including winning this race last year, 3 Richmond wins in his career in the Cup Series. I think he's going to be a good option for your team tomorrow night. We'll talk more about that later on.
No question. He's going to be on my team. I can tell you that right now. Coming up on the show today, Lee Spencer from motorsports.com. We'll talk to her about the abundance of storylines heading to not the penultimate, but the last race of the regular season.
Big word for you, abundance?
Right? Yes.
That's a huge word.
Yeah.
Was that the
I prepared that word.
Was that the toilet paper word of the day today?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And then also, so we're going to talk to Lee Spencer. We'll also play Under the Rock. Y'all have been getting kind of bitter, haven't you? Because I've been doing so well this year at Under the Rock.
So the Under a Rock committee has gone back to the drawing board this week, and
the Under the Rock committee. Who does that consist of?
A lot of people.
People.
I don't know if he's going to get it. I don't know if he's not going to get it. So we'll find out here in a little bit.
We'll check in with Rango Fowler, and then after the break, we'll play Sideswipe. We'll tell you our emojis, all of that. Coming your way on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show, presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day. Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax with a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock. So grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
It's Rob Tanner, host of America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. Join us every weekend as we get you set for NASCAR racing with 2 hours of the hottest hits in country music. The Motor Racing Network's Woody Kane is here with NASCAR news, and MRN pit reporter Steve Post stops by to talk a little racing. We'll have features and highlights you can't get anywhere else, so be here each weekend for NASCAR USA on the Motor Racing Network.
Yay or nay, go or stay. It's time for the inside line to sideswipe the competition. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Before we play this game that really means nothing in the grand scheme of things, we want to wish well wishes to everyone at Homestead, and of course Joe Moore and his wife Tippy down in the Keys. Hurricane Irma is on track, heading that way. And so we want to wish well wishes there. We don't know if it's going to hit there or make landfall there or not, but we just want to give our well wishes, right, Robbie?
And stay safe and heed all the warnings if you're in the area affected by the storm.
All right, let's play Sideswipe. Daryl Smith, we'll let Robbie go again because, wait, where did you finish in fantasy last week?
I was 151st last week at Darlington. So I beat you and I beat Rich.
Maybe I should go first then because I struggled.
You know what? You go first.
All right, who do I got?
All right, let's go with Joey Logano.
Joey Logano. I think the word for Logano this week is nervous. For me and for Joey Logano. Nervous for him because he needs to win to get into the playoffs. Nervous for me because I don't know what they're going to do. They were great at Richmond. They are great at Richmond. They were great at Richmond in the spring. They won the race. We don't know why they won the race. Obviously, it was encumbered, so it could potentially be something that they were doing that won them that race. But you look at their last, 5 starts, 5 straight top 10s at Richmond. A win, of course, this year. I'm basically basing all of this solely on practice speeds for Joey Logano. Right now, I will swipe right on Joey Logano because I think he will be, a solid start at Richmond. But if he's somewhere below the top 10 in practice speeds, I am not going to start Joey Logano.
I would swipe left on Joey Logano.
Okay.
They don't have it right now, and even if they try to throw a Hail Mary this weekend, I don't think they're going to have it. 10 finishes outside the top 20 in the last 16 races. But it would be the most ironic thing in the world if he went to Richmond tomorrow night and won that race, and that's what got him in the playoffs. But I'm going to disagree with you on the 22 right now.
Both Penske cars were great the last time we were at Richmond. I mean, Brad Keselowski was one of the best cars. Joey Logano, of course, ended up winning the race. You go back to that, that's probably the last race they were pretty dominant, wasn't it?
Yeah, roughly about the same time was when they kind of fell off a little bit.
So we'll see what they do in practice speeds. All right, Robbie's pick.
What's next?
Let's do Eric Jones.
Eric Jones. Okay. So Eric Jones, the last 3 or 4 weeks has really impressed me. 3 straight top 5 finishes, 5 straight top 10 finishes. He's coming on strong right now. He's another one of these drivers that has to win tomorrow night to make the playoffs. And even if he doesn't win and make the playoffs, I still think this season is going to be successful for Eric Jones. I wouldn't write them off going forward because I think he's coming on the point now where he's learning these Cup cars. He's getting experience. I think in the final 10 races he can contend to win a race. I don't think he makes the playoffs. I don't think he wins tomorrow night, but I would definitely swipe right. I think he's a good top 5 car tomorrow night.
I think he has the potential to win tomorrow night.
I think he has the potential to win, but I don't think he's going to.
I think he has the best shot out of the guys who are out of the playoffs right now to win a race. I think he has the best shot to win tomorrow's race out of, I just mentioned Joey Logano as a swipe right just because of his top 5 numbers the past 5 races, but I think Eric Jones has one of the best cars to win a race. I think he's better than Suarez. I think he's better than Logano. I think he's better than, a bunch of them. I think he has the best shot to win a race out of anybody. Daryl, is there some kind of theme here? I mean, you got 2 guys who are out of the playoffs right now. Are we going to continue on that theme?
Maybe.
All right, who do we got?
Danica Patrick.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Danica Patrick, I believe, is not going to win this race this weekend. However, I have been starting her at fantasy consistently, and she has been getting me points. And the reason why is she started 33rd at Darlington, and I knew, heck, that is not a 33rd place car. They just, struggled in qualifying. She went up to finish somewhere around 25th, 24th, somewhere around there. She has been passing cars, and if she struggles in qualifying again, I will start her. So basing it off of that, I will swipe right on Danica Patrick, because she's in that right price range. And if she starts, 30th to 40th, somewhere in there, I'm starting her.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There might be some other drivers in her price range that might be better options tomorrow night, but I like your logic. That scares me.
Well, it helps.
Because,
It's been helping me. I mean,
because,
look at me in the standings. Look where you're at.
Yeah,
So.
I'm catching you though, big boy.
No, you're not.
Yeah, well.
Where are you at now? 100th, 150th, something like that in our league?
300s. I started slow.
You're in the 300s in our league?
I started slow.
You ain't going to catch me by the end of the year.
Trust
slow. Me on that.
All right, what's next?
Let's do Austin Dillon.
Austin Dillon. Okay. So Austin Dillon, he has a win right now. He's in the playoffs, but I just don't know. He finished 4th last week at Darlington, which surprised me. I looked up and there was a blue and yellow car in the top 5, and I'm like, where in the world did Austin Dillon come from?
Ryan Newman was good last week, too.
That's true. Only 4 top 10 finishes this season. He had 10 at this point last year. Richmond, he's had some success there, finished 20th in April. I just don't know about Austin Dillon. I think he's one of these drivers that is streaky, I guess is the right word for it. I'm swiping no on Austin Dillon this weekend, though.
All right. Who else we got?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. His final race at Richmond. We can say that everywhere we go now because it's going to be his final race in the Cup Series. Junior, I'll just say no. I mean, I'm going to swipe left on Dale Earnhardt Jr. I can give you some of his numbers. The last time we were there, he finished 30th in the spring. Before that, I guess he has a 5th place finish in this race in 2015, and he missed this race last year. Of course, he finished 13th in the spring last year. I don't think the team has the speed right now. He could surprise me. I think he costs too much on NASCAR Fantasy Live and most other leagues just because it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. and he costs too much. I'm swiping no on Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm sorry.
Hasn't finished in the top 10 since Sonoma in June. He was 6th that day. 4 top 10s in 2017. 9 finishes, a 30th or worse this year. I agree with you. What's next?
Last driver, A.J. Allmendinger.
A.J. Allmendinger. Richmond is a racetrack where I think A.J. could have success Saturday night. The problem is it's like a lot of drivers, like Austin Dillon. They're there and then they're not there. Okay, and A.J. had problems at Darlington last week, spent most of the race a lap down. I just don't know about A.J. at Richmond. Again, I think there are some drivers who are better options than A.J. Allmendinger, so I'm swiping no on A.J. this weekend.
His best start or best finish in the last 5 races is 13th at Richmond. That was in the spring race of 2015. He was 37th in the spring this year. So, yes, I'm going to say no on Allmendinger as well. Must starts, Robbie Mays. Who do you got?
I think you must start Denny Hamlin.
I agree.
I think you must start Martin Truex. And I think you must start Kevin Harvick because he's been top 5 in 6 of the last 10 races at Richmond.
I am completely opposite of you. I do not think, I don't think Truex is a must start. He has struggled at Richmond. He finished 10th the last time we were there. His last 3 finishes at Richmond are 9th, 3rd, and 10th. I like the Harvick pick, but he worried me last week because I thought he was going to be a dominant car in the Darlington Southern 500, and he only finished 9th. I guess he got 15 stage points and led 22 laps, but I didn't really like Harvick that much. Here's my must starts. Denny Hamlin, I agree with you. Matt Kenseth is a must start this weekend. Do not be worried about where he finished the last time we were in the spring. He finished 23rd. He led 164 laps of that race.
Yeah.
I firmly believe he's going to lead more laps this weekend. I firmly believe he's going to be a top 5 car, potentially even a winning car. Matt Kenseth is a must start. And then I think Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch is a must start. He was 16th in the spring. I don't really care about that. I think the Toyotas are going to be outstanding this weekend.
Yeah.
I think Hamlin, Kenseth, and Kyle Busch, those 3 probably should be on your team. All right, let's play the emoji game. What do we got here? What's our first emoji? Oh, is that like a crying?
Sad face?
Cold sweat. Oh, who's going to have cold sweats Saturday night?
22.
22?
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. I potentially think Eric Jones. I think he is going to be running up towards the front of the field, but I don't know if he can win this race. I think, like I said, he has the best chance out of the 5 cars that are out, but I think Eric Jones is going to have the cold sweats after this. He's not going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think Joey Logano is either.
All right. Our second one. Oh, crying. Oh.
22, again, because they're not going to make the playoffs.
Crying face for Clint Boyer. He's not going to make the playoffs either.
As good as he has been this year, that's disappointing to see they're not going to make the playoffs.
They blew up at Darlington.
Yeah.
I think they're not going to make the playoffs either. All right, there's the emoji game. We'll come back. We'll talk to Lee Spencer from motorsport.com. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
So what are your favorite drivers really thinking? We'll tell you each weekday on NASCAR Today, midday.
Getting married has been incredible. I wish I had figured all this out sooner.
Get the latest news from the sport and the opinions of NASCAR's biggest stars.
Changing over to Ford will open up some opportunities and possibilities and some just pure potential for the team.
That's NASCAR Today, midday. Weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Hi, this is Joey Meyer, championship spotter, adequate pilot, and co-host of MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Join Woody King and I every Monday at noon on MRN.com as we debate the biggest stories in NASCAR.
Back for a year again is Kyle Petty.
I always laugh when we talk about a race car driver designing a race car track. Let me do it. Oh, there it was. I just designed one. Woo, I made a circle.
Log in every Monday at noon or anytime on demand at MRN.com for MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. Robbie Mays, I'm Tyler Burnett. We're here to talk fantasy as we do each and every Friday. We're now joined by Lee Spencer of motorsport.com. Lee, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Great. You still recovering from that butt whooping on the golf course this week? That could have been me. I don't know, but yeah. Anyways,
somehow I think that you're exaggerating how things have turned out on the golf. Let's get back to the point of while we have Lee Spencer on the phone. Lee, we're going to Richmond this weekend. I think the biggest question on everybody's mind is the following, and I'll just go ahead and throw this out there right now. Can Joey Logano win tomorrow night to get in the playoffs? Yes or no?
I would like to say yes. I would like to see it happen. If it happened, I think I think that's the one story that we're all looking for, and for a number of reasons. One, it validates his win in April. If he goes out and wins, and NASCAR finds that his car was legal after this race, then we know that it wasn't a fluke. And so I think from that standpoint, that's the kind of the best that we can hope for, number one, because if he comes back and wins, it knocks out one of the three guys that think that they're locked in.
Yeah, definitely. And we were talking about it the other day. Eric Jones is also a guy who needs to win a race, and I've said it throughout the show already that I personally believe Eric Jones has a better shot to win this weekend than Joey Logano. Do you agree? Do you feel like the Toyotas are the strongest camp right now?
I think you and I talked about that yesterday. They're crazy strong, and I think that they've been holding out most of the season, with the exception of Truex, who's just been lights out from the get-go. But I think that Toyota's been saving their best equipment for down the stretch, and we're just starting to see that right now.
Mm-hmm. You know, Lee, we've got three drivers: Chase Elliott, Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray. They're all in on points right now. However, if one of those, if another driver wins tomorrow night who's not already locked in, that's going to knock probably either McMurray or it could knock any of them out. Which of those three should be worried tomorrow night, Elliott, Kenseth, or McMurray, or should they feel pretty good going into tomorrow night's race?
If I'm them, I just can't feel sense of relief, so to speak, because it can happen and one of them can get knocked out. A win can come along. I mean, right now, I think they're all good on points if you don't get a new winner, and it'll be up to their teammates really to come out and save them as far as, one of their teammates that have won before. But I don't think, I just don't think you can look at it that way, because we saw what happened to Boyer. Boyer was kind of in the mix. I mean, he wasn't completely out. I thought he was out, but now he's kind of like in Siberia, really. He would have to have a win to get back into this thing. And so looking at it from that standpoint, I really think that I just don't know how you feel safe. I don't know how you feel secure. I mean, let's go down the list. Chase Elliott, I think we all kind of expected him to win by now, and he hasn't, which is, unusual. with everybody else that has. He doesn't even have a top 10 at Richmond. So to think that he's going to go out and get it done there, I don't see that happening. Jamie McMurray, I mean, the guy hasn't even been able to pick up a segment win. He's got no playoff points, and we're 25 races in, and he doesn't think that's unusual. I mean, I think it's kind of nuts. If you didn't have your wake-up call by, say, like Kentucky, that you weren't finishing in the top 10 and stage, after the stages and picking up points, I think something's wrong with your management or your competition department, because you really have to be on it. And I think Martin Truex Jr. is a perfect example of that. And Matt Kenseth, he's got 2 wins at Richmond. He's got the best equipment of those 3. If I'm Matt Kenseth, I'm the least concerned right now just because of how I've run at Richmond in the past. He won this race 2 years ago. He probably didn't need to because, he runs just that strong. But when you look at what he's been able to accomplish lately and just how on the ball that team has been, he was in a situation 2 months ago where, it wasn't really dire, but, here he was 12th, 13th in the standings and had to put together a string of top 10s. And he just, he did just that in the last 6 races, 5 top 10s. You can't complain with what he's been able to do to come from 12th in the standings to 8th. And I think right now, if you look at trends and look at momentum, he's probably the least concerned going into Richmond. But with 3 points separating that group, nobody's really safe because they could have a Boyer moment. They could have a cut tire, an engine failure, whatever, and take them out.
No question. I agree with you. I have Matt Kenseth, as one of the best guys going into this weekend. He led a ton of laps the last time we were there, 164. So I look at those. You had a story about Logano, I guess it was last week, about how they're not worried. Do you think that team is actually worried? I mean, because it seems like they have to get on this plan going in. We've won here before. No matter what we were doing back then, we still have to win.
I just don't think they're that good right now. I hate saying that because, my gosh, if you and I were sitting around having a beer before the season started and we were saying, okay, who do you think is going to be in your Final Four come Homestead? Logano would have been one of those guys. I mean, just, there's no denying it. He would have been one of those guys. And if you look at what he accomplished before the win, and you go and you look at what he's done after them, I mean, it is night and day. And you can't say that whatever it was that Todd Gordon was working on that car prior to Richmond that, NASCAR took away after the fact. I mean, they had 8 top 10s, and most of those were top 5s going into Richmond. 1 finish outside of that, and that was Phoenix, where they had trouble after winning the pole. He crashed. He just seemed like he was on the course to go to the title, and then Martin Truex Jr. just kind of emerged. But my gosh, since then he's had a couple of top 5s, a top 10, and that I think is pretty it's pretty clear-cut evidence that whatever was going on with that team prior to Richmond and prior to NASCAR busting them clearly had an effect on the car and whatever, and probably made Joey very comfortable behind the wheel and allowed him to excel on the racetrack.
No question.
All right, Lee, real quick, we're up against a break. Who wins tomorrow night's Federated Auto Parts 400?
In a perfect world, Joey Logano is the best storyline. Eric Jones would be my second favorite storyline to come out of that, just because it has to have the other 3 being in their fire suits. It's hard to go against Kyle Busch, 4 wins there, and or Denny Hamlin. I think it's going to be another Toyota show.
No question. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Lee. Have fun this weekend in Richmond and enjoy the night race tomorrow.
And anytime you need me to pick a picture for you, please call.
Lee Spencer, everyone, from motorsport.com. We appreciate her coming on the show as we always do here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. Coming up, I'll potentially be hit by a rock, and that'll be coming this way. So this is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost Busch o'clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy it responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike Bagley. Join me every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. This one-hour interactive show takes you beyond the typical storylines in NASCAR with the stars of the sport.
The celebration's been fun. I mean, afterwards, I guess I didn't leave the track until my 1:30, so I caught it with my crew in South Beach.
NASCAR Live also gives you in-depth analysis with MRN's top personalities.
Because for me, the decisive moment of this championship was when...
Check it out, NASCAR Live, this Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
MRN.com, your online destination for all things NASCAR. Looking for the latest NASCAR news? MRN.com. NASCAR stats for fantasy racing? MRN.com. Opinion pieces from award-winning motorsports writers? MRN.com. Race schedules, series standings, and photos? MRN.com. Live race streaming and audio and video podcasts that you can't miss? MRN.com. Stay up to date with all things NASCAR. MRN.com.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Once again, here's Frick and Frack.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. Getting ready for practice up at the Richmond Raceway.
Practice?
It's going to take a lot not to say Richmond International Raceway.
I know.
Weekend, but Richmond Raceway. And last race before the playoffs, not the chase. So if you say either one of those this weekend, that is $1 in the bucket.
Yes.
You ready to get hit by a rock?
Sure.
Okay.
Bring
Let's
it on.
play it. Under Rock or Tyler?
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
I think y'all are that sweat emoji because you're sweating that I'm going to get another one right.
I think you're going to get this wrong. All right, so this is a photograph of a very, very famous actor.
I got to name the actor? I'm done.
Yes.
I'm done.
Name the actor. Let's cue it up. Jennifer and Daryl, let's play Under Rock or Tyler. Who is that gentleman?
I think I actually know it. I'm sorry, guys.
Once again, I am not picking these.
I
so.
think I actually know it. I think it's Ryan Reynolds. Y'all are in trouble. You are that sweat emoji.
We really have to up our game, guys. It's not fun if he gets it right every week.
He's on this movie that I watched recently. It's called The Voices. It's a very creepy movie. I stopped watching halfway through. Like cats and dogs are talking to him, and he's like,
"Shut up, Tyler." Rango.
Hit me right in the dome. That is going to be a great gift later on.
That's hilarious.
Damn.
Come on, Ringo.
That was like a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. The dome piece. All right, Rango Fowler here. What do we got?
Glad to see he's turned back into a chicken this week after his throwback for Darlington.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, the chicken was in here first, so I can only assume it was the chicken. All right, Rango for Richmond. He has Denny Hamlin. He has Kevin Harvick. He has Eric Jones. He has Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Blaney. His winner is the 18 of Kyle Busch, and his car manufacturer bonus is Toyota.
I'm worried about not having Kenseth. I'm worried about not having Kyle Busch on this team. You think Harvick's going to be good? I mean, he could be.
He has the potential
I just
to be.
don't think he's going to be better than the Toyotas. Practice coming up. What'd you say today at 10 a.m. Eastern time?
We're gonna do our picks first.
Shortly, yeah. And then of course at noon there's another final practice. Qualifying's tomorrow, and then you can also what is it? Xfinity Series.
Qualifying's tonight, 5:30.
Oh, all this is today.
Yes.
Oh.
Why it says today right there.
Oh, 5:30 qualifying, 7 p.m. is the Xfinity race. You can see it on the graphic now. I don't need to say it anymore. All right, who's your winner, Robbie?
I think this weekend my winner. Well, who's yours?
Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth.
That's my pick to win.
Matt Kenseth. Okay.
It might be a mistake, but that's my pick.
Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to go a little bit. I don't know who I'm going to pick to win. You know what? I think Denny Hamlin's got a good shot to repeat this weekend. He's getting hot right now. one last week at Darlington. So there would be 2 in a row this season, 2 in a row in the fall race at Richmond. So I think Denny Hamlin wins.
All right, your final thoughts heading to Richmond Raceway.
This weekend, we're going to have some guys who have to win to get in tomorrow night. That's the only way. If you're out of the top 16 right now, that's the only way to get in based on points. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
We go to Chicago next week as we start the playoffs. It's going to be a big day in the Windy City. Then we go forward. We see who wins the playoff, and then we'll see who does well in Richmond this weekend. Good luck this weekend on your fantasy team. We'll talk to you next week as we head to Chicago here on the Inside Line.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.